All right, testing, testing. Everything here. I check. I check. I check. I check. Testing. Okay, guys, welcome back here. We got some more vehicles to look up here. We're looking for a cargo van, one that can be converted into just like a sleeper van. Something that we can put in. Put a little setup in the back, so that way, when you travel, you got a easy place to be comfortable. All right, so okay, so the Promaster is one that I like, and the reason I like the Promaster is due to the fact that it's very affordable for one, but number two, compared to a Transit or an Express van, is that the vehicle's front wheel drive. It gives you a little more freedom of where you can drive the vehicle without having too many issues with driving. Look for ones that are under 100K miles, and we're looking to be at a cheap payment. So let's see if we can get that price down. Let's see if we can get it down to 20,000. We'll put it all the way. Okay, so yeah, so between $4 grand and got 1,000 of them to choose from here. Let's get the mileage. Okay, now we got it. All right, so right now we've got some lower mileage options that we're looking at here. Let's go ahead and break this down here, starting in the 8K range. There's the one in Lakeland, Florida. That one's not there. That one's sold. Let's see. 0 miles, but used. Can't do that. Okay, so none of those are cargo van. Okay, here's the cheap Promaster right here. One second. Cheap Promaster. All right, so this one here, 2016. Be a basic one, but that's what we're looking for. Got some windows in it. I prefer to have them without windows. It's more secure. This one's super loud. Yeah. We're finding some right here. Obviously, quite a few to choose from. Let's see if we can tap into this a little bit. Yes, that would be badass. this one I like too. This is in Massachusetts. It has windows on it, but I like that one. It does have seats in here that are secured seats. You just take the window out behind it. You've got plenty of windows on this one. High top, mid. This one here would not be bad. It'd be not as fun to create privacy in this one, but this one at least all the insulation is done. Everything's done on it. You just got to customize it and just create privacy. One that's sharp. Looks like forever. This just looks decent. Trying to get the phone to it, but this is another one for passenger style here. Additional seats on this. Take all this out. This would be the one right here. It looks like a good one here. Let's see if there's a window sticker in it. Oh, jerks. See the auto check. See if an auto check score. I like this one. Looks like Chevrolet here. Big man. what do? You go with maximum security.
In out, transport, health insurance, and my name is Victor, and I like to share cultural insights and traveling and living in Peru. If you like what you see here, please subscribe. How's the education? A one-bedroom apartment can go from 1,500 to 2,700 soles. That is about 400 to 700 dollars, depending on neighborhood. In two-bedroom apartment, we go for 2,700 to 4,600 soles. That is about 700 1200 US dollars. Again, depending on neighborhood. Very popular places to stay are Miraflores, Aranco, and San Isidro. Other options are Magdalena and Jesus Maria. Now, in terms of utilities, electricity, water, and gas, the expenses fluctuate from 250 to 350 so about 65 to $95. Now I'm going to share with you my actual bills. So my actual bills are as follows. Electricity, 50 soles, that's 13 US dollars. Water, 10 to 15 dollars per month. That's about 3 to $4. My internet is about 85 to 90 dollars per month. That's about 23 US dollars. I do have fast internet and very little downtime. I work remotely and I find the service to be. And finally, is my mobile bill that is about $34.50. That's about 9 euros. The total for my utilities is about 182 dollars with 90 cents, about 50 US dollars at an exchange rate of $3.77. Now the dollar sits around 350, so it could be a little bit less. Now let's check market and groceries. Kilo of chicken could go for 11 to 14 soles, that's about 3 to $4. Rice, 3 to 5 soles per kilo, that's about 80 cents to $1.30. Now to find rice for 3 soles per kilo, you have to go to a local market. At the supermarket, you will definitely find rice for 5 soles per kilo. Potatoes can go from 2 to 4 soles per kilogram. It's about 55 cents to $1.10. Eggs, just the same, 8 to 12 soles per dozen. That is about $2 to $3.20. Just a couple of days ago, I bought 30 eggs for 50 soles, which is about $4.50. Monthly groceries per single person, mostly local produce, you're looking at 200 to 300 solids, about 50 to $80. Now, imported items, cheese, wine, or almond milk are much more expensive here, so your diet makes a big difference. For example, I like Portuguese wine specifically, being a bourbon, and it is more expensive here in Lima than it is in Colombia. So having said that, you can find a really great selection of local wine as well as imported. It just depends on your taste and your life. Eating out and cafe. Now in Peru, there is a thing called menudo. So this is like a lunch special. And we go from 12 to 20 soles, 3 to 5 US dollars. In my neighborhood, it's about 12 soles. If you go to a place like Florence, you find a menudo beer for 20 soles. And 25 or 30 soles. And cafe and pastries could set you back 15 to 25 soles or to 7 US dollars. If you like coffee and pastries, there are plenty of options to choose from. Dinner for two in a mid-range restaurant, you're looking at 80 to 140 soles, 22 to $38. You don't have to spend a lot of money to have a great time eating out here, and the selection is well. And it's easy to keep it affordable, keep it local, because price quickly if you can now pay. Having said that, you can eat really well. Now let's take a look at transport. One of the main forms of transportation here is the Metropolitan bus. One ride costs about $3.20, 85 cents US. And we also have the right payment apps such as Uber and Cabify. You could spend anywhere from 12 to 25 soles, 3 to 7 US. I personally spend about $100 in ride hailing apps. My preference at the moment is Uber over Cabify. Right, but service is very comparable, so I actually recommend. There are also local buses that you could take, and you will be charged by distance. And you could pay anywhere from 1 sol 50 to 3 soles or health insurance. Local insurance can go from 200 to 400 soles per month, 55 to 110 US dollars per person. Personal plan is about 317 soles per month, 85 US dollars. It covers emergencies. The average doctor's visit with insurance is 40 soles, $11. And of course, your international extra insurance would cost you more. Now, if you just go to a clinic without insurance, you're looking at paying anywhere from 50 to 100 US dollars per visit. So consider having insurance. If you are in Lima, would you stay with a local plan like mine or pay more for international coverage? Let me know in the comments. Entertainment and lifestyle. There are many free and low-cost things that you could do. For example, there are free low-cost options like neighborhood festivals, park concerts, visiting days, and so much more. The cost of going to the cinema could go from 20 to 35 soles, 5 to 9 US dollars. Museum, 10 to 20 soles to 70 to 50 US dollars. And sometimes it may be free or really cheap for special days. For example,
You know of a place through that local shop. Honestly, this place reminded me of my home. It's called the real store. Actually, it was the major selling point. Dave, you need Stewart from that building to keep it really green and power. I guess. I'm Nancy Buck, right in the middle. How much did this property cost you? The first time we came out here, there was nothing. And how much have you already invested in money trade? Go find out why, Joe. How to find process works orders and reveal the price. Yeah. Here's what I'm afraid that it's gonna be best. living, dating, safety. It has way more to offer than what most people think. And in this video, I'm going to break down my full experience being a for 2 months. And also, I'll go into whether or not I'm going to get myself. So let's get started. Here's what I'll cover in today's. So we're going to start off with where to stay in the best neighborhood. I'll share where I stayed. I'll share my Airbnb so you have an idea. I'm going to go over cost of living here in Lima. We'll talk about safety. We'll go into dating and social life as a man. We'll get into the lifestyle of the people. And we'll get into my final verdict after 2 months. Is this a place that I would want to stay? And if so, right. So where to stay in the best neighborhoods. So there's really three main neighborhoods if you're going to be living in Lima. Let me show you what that looks like on the map. So here's Lima, active city, 15 million people. The three main places are Flores, probably the most popular. You can see it's out of Cape Kennedy, which is where you want to be. It's pretty much central to everything. Atanco, which is more hipster bohemian, but also a great place to live. And then San Isidro borders Flores. Basically, this is San Isidro. I don't know why that's big. Good area. So they don't we this San Isidro, Miraflores, Barranco, Tampa. It's more not as walkable. It's still semi-walkable, but not as walkable as Miraflores, Barranco. There's also further. There's San Miguel, which gets a little sketchy in some parts. There's Magdalena del Mar, also gets a little sketchy. It gets a little sketchy. So outside of these three main areas, it does get a little sketchy, but those are going to be good for you guys talking. All right. So Miraflores, this is where I stay. This is the most modern, comparable to San Isidro, but San Isidro is also very modern. But I think the most modern, walkable, has ocean views in the heart of the city. Right. There are a lot of tourists here, but it's it's a great place. I think if I were to live in Lima, it would be Flores, which is where I stayed. Batanco is another good area. They mentioned it's more South City, more bohemian, smaller, great for nightlife, bars, cafes. It's also very walkable. It also has really nice ocean views, and there's also it's going more tourist than Batanco, but it's cheaper than Flores. San Francisco is more upscale, quiet, residential, safe, I think it's safe. It's also very walkable. It's more local, right? You'll see a lot more vegans in this neighborhood than than um, than tourists, right? Or you'll see expats, in this neighborhood than tourists. It is probably on the same expense level as far as cost of living than Flores. So I think these two are one of the two best areas where I would be. Okay. Now, for me, where I stayed, as I mentioned, I live in I live in a duplex. I live in two apartments. Both were really nice locations. Okay, so I lived in a duplex style block, right in the heart of what is right near Parque Kennedy. Both of them were very walkable to Parque Kennedy, but an awesome view. Blocks, just blocks from everything. Close to restaurants, gyms, ocean. Um, I thought it was a really nice place. I'll share some B-roll on that. But while I share B-roll, I'll also show you where it was and what you can expect for cost of Airbnb. So I'll get to the different cost of living, but Airbnb in particular are super affordable. So here's here's Parque Kennedy. Right here you can see where I stayed, like right near there, right? The heart of it. There's the apartment. Super nice place, has all the amenities. Yeah, nice balcony, nice view. I'll share some B-roll. Going through this quickly just for the sake of the video. Usually it's like a modern place that's a high-rise building, pool, with all the amenities, right? And I paid about $972, so a little under $1,000, right, for about a 1 month stay. Okay, for a nice place, that's part of the city, right? If I can get $1,000 a month for a nice apartment, a high-rise, with a nice view and a balcony in the heart of the city, the best part of the city, where it's walkable, everything, then right. And here's the other place I stayed at. So again, we're very close to Parque Kennedy. This is right at the heart of everything. Okay? This is where all of the most restaurants are, right it'd probably be about $1,000. Right? So I think it's really good value. Really nice apartment, perfect. All right. So this is where I would stay. This is where I recommend you staying in. All right. Now let's talk about cost of living. So I just went over the apartments. Right. My apartment was roughly ballpark about $1,000 a month for a really nice lot. Right. And the heart of the Florida is one of the best location, in my opinion, right near Kennedy Park, right near the ocean. Um, I think we live very well in this city for under 2,500 a month. Right. I spent about this. I think I ate out every day. Again, I lived in a really nice place. I did all the things. I went out and I experienced nightlife here too. So, or less, you definitely spend less. You can live in awesome life in Peru. Local food and the grocery stores are super affordable. You get really good food here. You get top tier restaurants here. You get some of the best chefs in the world in the city. Now, this can get pricey here, like 100, 200, even more per person. Right? But there's also great options. You have going like $3 to $5 for an amazing meal as well. I'll share some Google on that too. Definitely local spots where I get a great almost $1 for $2, which is where I pretty much ate every single day. Right? Whenever I went to a nice restaurant, that's where you can get the price. Now, taxis and Ubers, super reasonable. You're not really going to get, to be honest with you, like if you're in Vita Flores, you're not everything you need right here, right? Maybe go to this part too, but it's like, I wouldn't like here, like during the day, right? Obviously, Uber at night. Um, this is really all that you need. This part here, maybe Batanco, obviously, Batanco, but it's super affordable. That's the time I would need, I would go to like maybe Batanco, right? Or San Isidro. But we have everything you need. So if you're right here, you don't need Ubers, but super reasonable, super walkable. It is also very likable. Like I said, you don't need Uber most times. I was really shocked by the value of the city. Really have great infrastructure. Felt like I was in a first world city. Right. Okay. So when we talk about value, I want to check out my other video on Mexico. I felt like the apartments were less quality, more expensive. Here you get nicer living for less expensive. So talk about paying for your buck. Lima, Peru is definitely that. I had really great meals for under $10. I mentioned most times like $3 to $5, but even good restaurants, for under $10 for a really good place. But like I said, you can also splurge on fine dining here whenever you want. But if you budget well, Lima has a high value cost of living, in my opinion, compared to really any other state in Latin America. I put Paraguay up there, and I put Lima up there as far as best value so far that I've experienced. All right, now state Lima is surprisingly one of the safest bigger cities that I've been to as well. Big cities I've been to, I did a video on Mexico City. I did one on Buenos Aires, Argentina. I just really feel like that city. I haven't been to Bogota yet, but as far as safety goes, Lima felt like it was safe, to be honest with you. As long as you're staying in Miraflores, Tampico, San Isidro, these are the three main ones, you're going to feel extremely safe. And once you get outside these zones, they'll get pretty sketchy pretty quickly. So use your judgment. Obviously, if you want to save a few bucks, you don't have to be in these areas. There are other locations that are safe enough where you can save a lot more money. But if you want the best experience overall, you don't want to worry about your safety, just stick to these three. Okay? Never had any issues. Even when I explored beyond the safe areas, I did explore the city pretty well. Um, I really felt like I was in a bad position, or in a situation where I might get robbed. Actually, really safe city, right? No different than any other major city you might find in the States. Probably the state than what I find in, and maybe even in Boston, Massachusetts, where I'm from. There's places like Dorchester, I'm not going to get specific, but it felt safe. Right? All right, now the aging social life. Also, better than I expected. Now, Lima has a population of over 12 million. So, obviously, that many people, you're going to have plenty of options. And Peruvian women are super down to earth. I find them intelligent. I find them, some of them very spiritual. From my experience, it's pretty involved women. I met professional women. I met spiritual women. So, Peruvian, what they get on the best reputation, like maybe looks wise, I think they're really great women that get it. And, it's not your case, that's fine. You'll have many Venezuelans, Colombians, even Cuban, like I did the Cuban girl there, who have migrated there outside of these countries, especially Venezuela and Cuba. women who have migrated to FEMA. So plenty of options when it comes to dating. Dating works super well here, especially if you're a tall, white, Caucasian dude. If you're foreign, I had a buddy who dates from Germany. He's over 6 feet tall. You know, he crushed it into dating just by walking like alongside Kennedy Park. We hang out, we go to a bar or something. Just by walking, we would get a lot of stares from girls. That's all he gets to do with me. So if that's you, you're a small guy, Asian, and light skin, you'll crush it. You'll get a lot of attention. If the women respond extremely well to corners, you mentioned that they square every dude, crush it here by walking through Kennedy Park. So yeah, I guess for I dated Peruvian, Cuban, and then Venezuelan here too. And like I said, women seem to be more cool, nerd, intelligent, I found. And so you have attractive women everywhere. I've seen videos of people talking about people like are attractive. Um, you probably didn't go there's plenty of attractive women walking all over things through, and they respond very well. Um, so for dating, I wasn't expected. I usually don't like dating in big cities, but FEMA is probably the best big city that I would say for dating. All right, now lifestyle. Now lifestyle. FEMA to be more of the I'm talking about energy hustle and bustle, more of the American version of New York City because they see they're very hardworking, right? Very productive, right? I think that has a lot to do why the infrastructure is the way it is. The different energy, right? So I think and part of that also has to be like this broken contact. They're not as friendly, not as welcoming, not as warm. I'm talking about Peruvian specifically. In other countries like Colombia, Mexico, right? You may kind of feel like Argentina where they're not as warm or friendly, you know. So just keep that in mind. But I wouldn't say that they're super cold either, right? Yeah, they're not as super warm as Colombians or Paraguayans, but they're still respectful. They're polite. They're probably not going to start a conversation with an elevator like a Colombian or
Let's dive into where would I return?
All right, I'm Nina. The 78, 70 spin, I got about 3 years ago. I'm from Beaufort, South Carolina. I live in North Carolina now. Found this in Salisbury, North Carolina. Sitting in a carport and bought it from a guy named Raymond who used to haul his motorcycle. When I bought it, it's also in the front.
oh yeah, classic Chevy. Oh yeah.
And you can put better on the driver's side. Park supplies in there, some paint and electronics in the bottom and organized. I can pull that copper panel up to access the battery.
But I'm sick of all this bullshit floating around about it. Everyone's selling this fantasy of making six figures from the couch with zero experience, and most of it is garbage. And today, I'm not going to be peddling some get rich quick scheme. I'm going to be showing you actual remote jobs that are hiring right now, that are genuinely simple to do and offer offer real stability in this don't require economy, and don't require you to become some kind of tech genius. And here's the truth that nobody wants to talk about. While AI is advancing, it's not taking over. According to recent data, only about 13% of occupations could potentially be automated. And as
you have the guy out there. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Taylor Van Peak. Come check out my 2005 GMC Sedona 3500 camper van that I just got done building. Anyway, hi. We have a great company here tonight. It's Memorial Day. And somebody had suggested I make a quick video about the differences or recommendation for the Ford Transit and the Promaster. So this is going to not have a lot of special effects and it not be very useful. If you already bought a Promaster, that's why you're here. But I suppose it's your job. I just happened to go on the webs and look up pricing. Pricing is key here in 2023. It turns out Promaster has a very comfortable top name for the transit. Medium roof transit is 100 inches tall. Promaster is 99 inches tall. The hybrid Promaster. The transit wheelbase is 148 inches, and the Promaster wheelbase on the long is 159 inches. That's the difference. And the gross vehicle weight, the transit is 9,500 pounds. The Promaster is 9,350 in that configuration, which would be a 3,500 non-extended hybrid long wheelbase. In the Ford, you get a choice of engines, an naturally aspirated six-cylinder, or for $1,800 more, you could have an eco. Power down one side. He never ever rested. Right. But in this point, he's obviously been through enough rehabilitation. You're looking at some 6 years on. He was able to do that. He was not a there's a bit more fucking paperwork to go through before we can tick this off. Any pop dice? Any bit knives? No, this one is so what we're seeing right now is a tournament for the NWA Tag Team Title. Right. Why? Is my big question. Why are we suddenly with the NWA Tag Team Title? Very, very simple. If you mean by simple, will it take out? Simple but long. So in 1948, they start the NWA coalition of promoters who have a sort of virtual monopoly on wrestling. The idea is they want one set of world champions for a single tag, so that there is a sort of uniformity, and those will be shared. They will be given data. So the tag team championship comes out of that. Now, from 1948 to 1982, the NWA allowed their member promotions to have their own version of the tag team match. By the time it gets to 1957, there's about 13 people. Yeah. As time goes on, they start to win. And by the time that you get to the 80s, where all the small promotions are going under, you've only got really a couple there. One is the WWF version, and when they leave the NWA, they become just their own WWF tag team partners. And you have the other ones which are owned by Jim Crockett Promotions. Right. So they are the NWA World Tag Team Champions. Now, when in 1988 he sells to Ted Turner, his company in 1991, they officially split from the NWA, but they've got the NWA about